Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Zodiac Bandit, and today we have some minor spoilers for Campaign 3, so if you aren't caught up and are worried about any spoilers whatsoever, then there are spoilers. 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 I'm just going to say spoilers. Let's scrap minor and just say spoilers. So if you aren't caught up, click off. And with the spoiler warning out of the way, we can now move on to the main meat of this video, which is with Otohan close on the heels of the Bell's Hells as they've gotten to the city of Kaviris on Ruidus. I believe the rematch is imminent, and I want to go over what I think the Bell's Hells need to do this time around in order to win. So obviously the first thing that needs to happen when encountering Otohan again is they all need to be on the same page. At this point, they're beyond talking with her and they're beyond running from her as they've been running this whole time. So if they come across her again, they no longer have a gaseous form to escape with. So realistically, they know they need to fight. And that is something that they have to be on the same page of. Fortunately for them, I don't think they can be caught off guard by her this time as they have the scry ball that they've been holding on to the entire campaign. And luckily for them, they know that she's nearby. They basically have this thing out the entire time, so they won't be caught by surprise if she shows up again soon, because hopefully they're looking at that thing constantly, of which Laudna is. So being caught off guard by her won't happen this time. So luckily they'll have that on their advantage. They'll know when she's coming. So then from there, they just won't fall into the same trap they did last time. Half of them running away, half of them fighting. That won't be a problem this time. They will all be on the same page. And I think there's a nice little strategy that I've come up with in my head to which we'll be able to use the strengths of everyone the best way to take down Otohan Thull. So before we move on to what I think the party can do, I do want to briefly talk about Otohan just a little bit and some of the stats that we do know about her. First of all, she seems to have more than 140 HP. That is pretty standard for main villains in Critical Role, so it makes sense. I would imagine she's probably somewhere north of 200. So she has a lot of HP. Also, her AC is 20, and any of her abilities that she needs, like a saving throw for her, DC is 17. So she is a decent threat when it comes to stuff like that. Also, she can attack 4 times in a turn, one with a regular attack, and then with 3 extra attacks. And if she wanted to with Action Surge, she could hit upwards of 8 times in a turn, and she is nasty. I would imagine she's mostly dexterity built, as is seems to be her motif, as she seems lighter and faster. So she's probably not a strength build. So I would imagine she's probably got 20 plus for her dexterity, and she has 3 legendary resistances per day, and she has 3 legendary actions per round. So again, menace. She can attack upwards of 4 times a turn, and then add some more onto that if she really wanted to with her legendary actions. She is an absolute menace. Also, she has a psionic leap or some sort of superpowered jump, which can allow her to jump 100 feet in the air. We saw that very recently in one of the most recent episodes of Critical Role, where she jumped after the gaseous forms of Fern and FCG, and she jumped upwards of 100 feet, which we don't know if that's the limit of her jump or if that's the max of her jump, but that's insane. And she can also move 40 feet if she wanted to, just on the ground. So she is extremely quick and can jump super far. So she is extraordinarily dangerous. Also, she's Ruidus born. There's all of that to think about when we're talking about Otohan Thull. But the most important thing to keep in mind about Otohan Thull is the fact that she has a contraption on her back that is allowing her to summon 3 echoes of herself, which are all extraordinarily dangerous. They are able to attack on their own, they are able to sit still and sort of have a reaction, and Otohan can teleport through them. So she can move to their space that they are in, which is extraordinarily dangerous for her to maneuver around the battlefield. If she elects that she wants to get away from one person and move to another, she can using these echoes, and it's very, very dangerous. But we don't know how many in total she can summon. We do know that once she summons 3, and some of them die off, she can summon a few more, but we don't know how many in total she's able to summon. I would imagine she might be able to do this twice. I feel like 6 might be the limit, but that is just a total guess, so we're not terribly sure how many she can summon quite yet. Luckily, they only have an AC of 18, and they all only have 1 hit point. So realistically, a magic missile could be a nightmare for these echoes, but unfortunately, no one on the crew has magic missile, which sucks. That being said, if they level up one more time, Imogen could learn magic missile, which would help greatly in this fight against the echoes, but as of right now, she doesn't have it in her spell listing, so I do feel like it's important to mention that, because for the strategy that I've sort of come up with in my head about how I think this fight could go, it's not important because Magic Missile is just not available to them. We have never seen anyone in the group use it, and the only one currently in the group who can use it is Imogen, but she just doesn't have that spell, which is unfortunate. So I do want to point that out before moving on to the strategy that the Bell's Hells could use that I've come up with in my head to sort of deal with Otohan Thull. So it's time to move on to the strategy that I've sort of come up with in my head about how I think the Bell's Hells could use everything they have to their disposal to deal with Otohan Thull. So to keep in mind, as we said earlier, she has legendary resistances and legendary actions, and she's likely going to go first. I feel like her dexterity is really high, and she will likely just end up going first in this combat, so we shouldn't really worry about that. We're not going to worry about initiative, but that's just something to keep in mind. So the strategy in my head is to get Laudna and Imogen the fuck away from Otohan. I feel like Imogen is going to be the target, as she is the one that's sort of being followed. Fern might also be a target, but she's sort of lesser of a issue for Otohan, as Sora Lord Zathuda has said not to kill her. So realistically, Fern is pretty safe. So she's not going to be like the biggest target to go after. She is eventually going to become a target if Otohan starts winning, but that's not a big deal. What's going to happen is Laudna and Imogen are going to fly away. They're going to fly 120 feet in the air because Imogen is going to cast Fly at 4th level and hit both of them with it. So they're going to be able to fly away from Otohan and sit 120 feet out of range. Why 120 feet? Well, 100 feet is what we know at the very minimum Otohan can jump. So hopefully that's actually her max, not her minimum, because that's all we know right now. So hopefully she cannot jump any higher than that. So then when she summons out Echoes, Laudna can now cast Eldritch Blast and start dealing with a bunch of these Echoes as they happen. Fern could also go up there with them if Imogen were to cast it at 5th level, but I feel like Fern is better placed with FCG in a sort of mid area. So there's going to be 3 tiers to this combat. There's going to be the flying duo, there's going to be the mid area duo, and then there's going to be the 3 upfront fighters who are going to be doing most of the up close and personal stuff with Otohan Thull. And obviously that's going to be Ashton, Chetney, and Orym. So the frontline fighters, their job is pretty simple for the most part. They're to chip away damage, but in Orym's case, Orym is going to be the person hunting for legendary resistances. I believe he is the best option as he can attack 4 times in a turn now, 8 if he really wanted to with Action Surge. So if he were to use a tripping attack, a disarming attack, or a goading attack on every single hit, I believe he can chew through the legendary resistances super quick, especially if he goes for a disarming attack, because Otohan will want to keep her weapons in hand. Ashton could help chip away, but it really depends on what rage he gets. If he gets time or space, I believe those are the 2 best options for him to sort of have to make her make saving throws. But that's too random for us to truly know what's going to be going on with that. So we're just going to assume Orym is the only one who can make Otohan roll saving throws, because we really want Otohan to lose those legendary resistances as fast as possible. So we know Ashton and Chetney are just there to chip away at damage and to sort of try to keep her in place, but we know that that's likely not going to happen. She's going to try to jump away and do things to other people, but their job is to do as much damage as humanly possible, or as D&D race possible. And then Orym, his job is to take away legendary resistances. So then in the mid-range combat area, there's going to be FCG and Fern. Fern is going to also be sort of taking away health as she's sort of able to sit back, fire Scorching Rays, and maybe Mister can throw a Flaming Seed if he really wanted to. Or Mister can be a little closer up and be like some sort of casting conduit for Fern, as we know that's something that Mister can do. So Fern at a mid-range is supposed to take out health from Otohan Thull, much like the upfront fighters do. But then we have FCG. FCG is the person who has one solo job. Just one. It might vary depending on how things go, but one job, in my opinion, is all they need to do. The first thing they need to do in combat is summon Spiritual Weapon, and then from that point on, they heal. They will be healing the entire time, making sure that anyone who needs health, whether it be through Bonded Blessing, whether it be through reaction, taking away damage that people take, it doesn't matter. He needs to bond with the upfront fighters the most. They're the most important in this fight to sort of make sure that Otohan stays with them. And then from that point on, they heal everyone. They heal everyone who takes any Alika damage. It gets healed immediately by FCG, as much as FCG can. That is FCG's whole thing in this fight, to heal. And once that sort of ship has sailed and it's sort of looking like they can start doing a bit of damage. Maybe they cast Spirit Guardians and then roam up and sort of aid with the upfront fight, but I would much prefer FCG to sort of sit back, just start to heal the entire combat. It is going to be boring for Sam, but it needs to happen for this to sort of go super well. And then, like I said earlier, up 120 feet in the air is Laudna and Imogen after they are finally up and in secure placing away from Otohan Thull. Their whole job is going to be dealing with the echoes. They're going to be Eldritch Blasting and Mind Slivering these echoes the entire fight. That is going to be their entire thing until there are no more echoes left and they can just start chipping away with the rest of them against Otohan Thull. That is their whole job. How are they going to do this? Well, Imogen can distance spell to add a little bit of distance to any of her spells that she needs to. So if they are too far out with the range, sorcery points are going to be her best friend. And the same thing with Laudna. Laudna is going to be quick in spelling Eldritch Blast and then casting Eldritch Blast. So there's going to be at least 4 Eldritch Blasts flying out towards these echoes. And once there are no more echoes, if Imogen wants to, she can start Mind Slivering or Psychic Lancing Otohan Thull. And like I said, Imogen is sort of the person who has a fluctuating role here, whereas Laudna's whole role is dealing with echoes. The echoes are her responsibility. Get rid of these echoes. She can hit them really well with Eldritch Blast, and she can stay out of range with it because Eldritch Blast range doesn't need to be distance spell. It doesn't need any more distance added to it. It's already 120 feet. So it's a nasty spell to use against these things. Again, Magic Missile would be perfect, but no one has it. So it's best to just use Eldritch Blast because she can shoot 4 a turn. The two of them are just going to obliterate their sorcery points if need to be. They need to just use all their sorcery points up, get rid of it, because hopefully she can't summon more than fucking 6 like I mentioned before. So realistically, best to just use your sorcery points, get rid of the echoes, and then when Imogen sees there are no echoes, attack Otohan with some nasty spells like Psychic Lance, and then hopefully from there, they can kill her with the chipping damage, getting rid of legendary resistances, and, sort of dealing with legendary actions throughout the fight. Hopefully, this comes together and they're able to deal with her. But here's the thing. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. So this could be the plan they go in with, but they need to be able to adapt to it and to be able to shift things with their needs. Otohan might not be the only person they end up fighting that day. There might be some Hex Minds, there might be some Shrikes, there might be some Juggernauts, there might be a Thought Eater with her. We don't know who is traveling with Otohan Thull, so she might not be alone. There might be some Ruby Vanguard members, in which case some things have to shift around and they need to sort of spread out a little bit more. Maybe Chetney and Ashton break off from Otohan Thull, leaving Orm to do it one-on-one against her, much like the animated intro does suggest might happen. I know that doesn't mean anything, but it looks cool, it's a nice visual, and that's why it's a thumbnail for the video. But if more people are added, they need to be able to adapt to that situation to be able to deal with it, and then eventually figure something else out to deal with Otohan, because Otohan is going to be the massive threat on the battlefield, no matter who she's with. If she's with a Juggernaut, a Thought Eater, 50 Juggernauts, Otohan is still the problem. The last thing to sort of keep in mind about all of this is how dangerous and intelligent Otohan Thull is. She will likely have adapted to the handful of times she's come across the party, so realistically, I wouldn't say it's too far out of the realms of possibility. She's sort of come up with a contingency plan for the Bell's Hells. Maybe she silvered her weapons for Chetney. Maybe she's got something up her sleeve like a magic item that she'll be able to just get rid of FCG. FCG will be taken out of the battlefield and banished somewhere because she has a ring of spell storing with banishment in it. Something like that is not out of the possibility for Otohan Thull. She's definitely a very intelligent, very dangerous fighter that they have to deal with. And the most important thing to remember is if they lose anyone in this fight, that's likely wraps for them because they will have the toxins in their body that prevent people from being revived, and they currently don't have any of the perennium flower to bring them back, which is very, very dangerous. So they need to all stay up, which is why I emphasized FCG healing so much. So realistically, they need to come up with a plan. I don't know if this one that I've put up forward is going to be the best plan, but it's the one that I could sort of come up with. Keep the casters out of the fight. Make sure that they chip away at the legendary resistances. Do whatever they can to chip away at damage. Get rid of those echoes as fast as possible. And hopefully, maybe, no one goes down. Because if they do, that's it for them. So, let me know what you guys think down below. What are your plans that you think the Bell's Hells should sort of do to deal with Otohan Thull? Because I'm very excited to see what other people think of. Maybe the casters should be the ones up close and personal, dealing with the saving throws, waiting so that they can swap places with the melee fighters. Who knows? I want to know what you guys all think. What do you think of my plan? And yeah, also, I might be making a video tomorrow, which is going to be very out of place because they are doing the Daggerheart stream, and I kind of want to talk about Daggerheart a little bit. So, who knows? If the stream calls my fancy or whatever, I might make a video. I might not. I might wait for next Tuesday to make a video. Who knows? But I am excited to learn more about Daggerheart, as I'm sure most of you are. There's actually 2 videos that came out today as I was recording this video, so I'll be watching those very shortly to see how I like the character creation and the how to play stuff for Daggerheart. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about fighting Otohan, and then also let me know what you guys think about the Daggerheart stuff that's been going around today. So yeah, I'll see you guys on Friday for the recap, and maybe tomorrow for whatever I want to talk about with Daggerheart. So until then, peace.